Hello everyone, my name is Cornelia Melcu and I am a primary school teacher in Nicolae Orghidan school in Brasov. I teach 10 years old primary school students this year. There are 16 boys and 14 girls in the class. They are really keen in doing projects and they like inquiry-based lessons. They are participating in some STEM projects related to space science and astronomy, internet safety, and biology. The students had basic knowledge about the Earth and the Sun, seasons and weather, the Milky Way, even about famous astronomers and astronauts because they participated in a project based on space science and astronomy. I adapted the course to my class as they were 9 that time, so I had to use ICT tools they were familiar with, as Padlet, which is very simple. In the beginning of the lesson, the students presented with what they knew on the topic. Then they watched a video about climate change, wrote down their answers to 3 key questions. At the end of the video, I asked them to share the answers and had a brief class discussion to summarize what they'd learned from the videos. After the video, I opened a Padlet wall and wrote down their answers so that they could have the overview of the discussions somewhere they could see it. In the second phase of the lesson, I split the students in groups of 5 and each group had a support picture. I asked them to make hypotheses related to their real life starting to a problem. What will happen if the quantity of trapped gases increases? Each group added the hypothesis made on Padlet. Then the children discovered that atmosphere layer of the Earth is very thin by doing an easy experiment. Then, working in groups, they investigated the consequences of the greenhouse effect on the temperature on Earth using a bottle representing the Earth with its atmosphere and a bottle representing a planet without an atmosphere. Meanwhile, they completed a worksheet and finally they interpreted all of their findings. Next step was to discuss the tasks and came to the conclusion. The conclusion was added on the Padlet. The students compared the data obtained with their initial hypothesis and corrected the mistakes. Finally, the students presented their findings to the rest of the class. They incorporated their inquiry process into a group poster in which they included a reflection section. They pictured it and added the photo on the Padlet. I would advise my colleagues who plan to teach this lesson to make sure the same students do not always put themselves in the position of leadership, to give credit to any option, to encourage the students to use their creativity, and allow all groups to present their hypotheses or conclusions. More than 2 free didactical hours could be planned for this lesson because of the experiment and the poster session, who took long. The experimental part of the lesson went very well because children love to manipulate, investigate, ask questions, and find answers by their own. Experiments in school also teaches them about the way the world works. I noticed that the part of the lesson when the students collected the data from the experiments, the temperature on the bottles, disappointed my young students because they were expecting a huge temperature difference. So I had to explain them that even a short difference is really important in any research by giving examples. I would recommend for this lesson nested tables in groups classroom layout. Nested tables are obviously great for small groups work and project work. It can be difficult to start classes when students are already sitting on small tables, as some students will have their backs to you. If possible, have the students sit so their side onto you and remember to move around the classroom when you need to give instructions or change activities. Surprise your class by popping out at different places around the class.